Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay. And I'm zoomed out. And we got a nice special episode for you, if you don't mind zooming me out of it. I was on a show yesterday. We had to zoom out. You're going to see it later in December. Well, I'm not the one that's the judge. I prefer not to see me. But in any case, here we are. We're zoomed in. And we're going to do a little bit different on this show today because our guest has to take care of his family. Yep. What a guy. So we're going to do the first half with our guest today, and then we'll get into Martin's update.
Yes.
and then the news, and then we'll close up today as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in the man of the half hour, Mr. Curtis Stone. Oh, where is he?
Where is he? What'd you do?
I didn't push the right button.
Morning,
there we
Curtis.
go. Good morning, Curtis.
Good morning.
Always bright here. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I got to hand it to you guys. This is the I've been 10 years doing podcasts and interviews, and this is the earliest I've ever done one. So
I'm surprised when Jason says he's coming on at 7. I'm like, that's 6 o'clock your time. You're a trooper, my friend.
Hey, we used to do our
I am up at this time. It's that my kids might be getting up, and so we'll see. They come in and say, "Daddy, I want some toast."
Well, Curtis, we used to be at 6 a.m. Mountain, so I would pull people out of BC for 5. Remember those days?
Yes.
You remember those days? Yeah, so you're not breaking a record for our show, but I'm glad we broke a record for you. So good morning.
Happy to be here.
The sun's not up yet for you, is it?
Oh, no. Goodness, no. No, another hour at this time of year.
I don't know if David Eby allows the sun to come up anymore. What are the rules around that?
Right?
Pretty much.
So good morning. Thanks for joining us. And for our normal guests, our normal fans, audience, we will go to the rest of our stuff in a bit if you're just joining us now.
Yeah.
But we're going to do Curtis first. So there's a little bit of a flipping the default for us.
Yeah. Mixing it up. It's okay.
Love it.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and introduce you to this audience, and we'll just jump into some of the things. First, is that a tea or coffee?
That's a coffee.
Coffee. We got another coffee. Paul's got a tea. Let's get into who you are, Curtis. I know who you are. Yeah. You're an awesome guy out of BC. You running for council or mayor, something like that?
Hopefully. Well, I don't want to say too much about that yet, but that is in the works. Yes.
Well, we did. We ran for municipal. I think it's important people get involved.
Well, I think it's the only political solution there is right now. I don't see any federal solution, provincial solution outside of a constitutional convention. And I'm actually going to be interviewing Bruce Party this week to talk about a new constitution. But yeah, in my opinion, at this moment, there is no political solution besides us getting completely control of the small town and rural municipalities, because that's where most people like us are, I've discovered. Yes, there's a lot of people in cities, but most people can't hack it in the cities anymore because they're horrible. I was in Calgary in April, and I was absolutely flabbergasted on how much the demographics of that city have changed. It was... You just go like, where's Calgary? Like, where's the Calgary I used to know? I didn't see a single cowboy hat. I didn't see any white people, to be honest, except the people that I was working with. I was downtown. I was like, where am I? I was just in Toronto a few weeks ago, going through Pearson Airport, and I'm not exaggerating. Every single person who works in security is not white. Where am I? Where am I? It's all, and I don't have anything against non-white people, of course not. But it is interesting that everybody working at that airport is not white. It's actually the same in Calgary. It's pretty much the same. I remember one time I was in Calgary and I counted. I was just shocked. And so, anyways, on a local political level, I think it's really the only thing we have left to do is do something there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the demographics change all over the place with hospitality, service, logistics, trucking, security, basically all of the essential services that we need to run the country. Definitely the demographics has changed there. And the service has changed. Quality has gone down. Communication has gone down. And it is noticeable, very noticeable. Paula noticed this when we went back to Alexandria. There was no jobs available for young people anymore. They were all taken up.
Yeah, the local KFC, Pizza Hut place, the Dairy Queen, which are typically either English or French.
Teenagers. Always
All-
teenagers working at Dairy Queen. Canadian teenagers.
Exactly. And we went through the Dairy Queen drive-through and like, that's a different accent. And then we pull into the drive-through to collect us.
Completely changed.
from the woman serving us to the two people in the back that we could see. And we're like, where's the 15-year-old, French-speaking kid? Like,
and then you find out that their wages are subsidized up to 75%. So in a way, you can't blame the owner of that franchise because they're just responding to economic incentives. But to me, this is absolute sabotage from the federal government. This is absolute cultural sabotage. How can you create an economic incentive that only favors one group of people, new Canadians? What's the point of living in this country? What's the point of being a resident or a citizen of a country when your government is at war against you? And frankly, I don't mean to use such salacious language, but that's how I feel that this is. This is war against the people of this country. And when you really boil it down, because like you can philosophize and get into political conversations as to why this is happening, but in my opinion, the only reason this is happening, it comes down to banking policies. It comes down to the fact that you learn in economics 101 in university that the GDP has to match inflation, has to keep up with inflation. So if they print money and issue new currency units, the GDP has to increase. And typically that's easiestly done through population growth. But they've been telling white people to not have children for the last 50 years, so they don't. But then they import people from the third world. And it makes sense when you understand it from a macroeconomic perspective, because since Trudeau, they've inflated the currency beyond recognition, where nobody's ever seen prices like this. And white people aren't producing enough, big surprise. So they're importing people from the third world who are happy to come in to the remnants of Canada because it's far better than where they were. So people from India will put up with diminishing living standards for a long time because those standards will always be better than they are in India. But for us as these Canadians, we're sitting here going, man, life in the 90s was a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
Paula brings this up all the time. Paula, by the way, is an immigrant, legal one, 20 years, and she is just actually far more fed up than I am, to be honest.
Yeah, completely, because I see it. The flip side of all of that is bringing in people that be willing to put up with the diminishing way of life, because it's still better than back home. But I've also seen it flat out as vote buying. That has just always been my train of thought when it comes to when they're bringing all these immigrants in. That they are just basically buying votes. And I always say, in my day, when I came to Canada, like there were terms and conditions I had to meet. Now, not only have they opened the floodgates, they've removed the gates, so the gates can't even be shut anymore.
It can't even be shut.
I'm not a fan of illegal immigration, and I'm certainly not a fan of
open borders.
Open borders. My parents and I came here. We met our terms and conditions. We worked hard. We got it. I'm proud to say I became Canadian before I got married.
Kind of a prerequisite on my part, just to be clear. You're going to be a Canadian before you're married.
Well, immigration in the 90s was fine. We all had, I'm a 90s teenager. I graduated high school in 98. I had always a handful of friends from other countries, from India, Pakistan, Iraq. I had a friend from Haiti. I mean, it was all cool then, because it was done at a reasonable amount where people had time to immigrate or to integrate. Now,
assimilate.
They just get away. They just ghettoize. And so every single major city in Canada right now has major ghettos where it's this type of person, and then everybody's, and it's ironic because it's all the white liberals that are sitting there saying, we love diversity and we don't see color. Meanwhile, all of those other people are playing identity politics. So all these white liberals, oh no, we don't play identity politics. We see everybody as equal. well, they do play identity politics, but not in the way that I'm saying. But then everybody else collectivizes. And so this is where I'm kind of going right now. If people like us, which I'm calling heritage Canadians, we need to form a broad coalition. And that coalition is not exclusive to race. It's basically exclusive to how life was before things got insane. Because what are we going to do? What are you going to do when, let's just, the elephant in the room is immigrants from India. And up until this point, I never had anything against them. There's always these cultural stereotypes that, are often true, and that's okay. Everybody has their stereotypes, but we are literally being taken over by that population. And that population is very collectivized. They have Sikh temples. They have their many organizations. Look at the whole Khalistani thing with this, like they crashed a Remembrance Day ceremony. Oh, my daughter's getting up now. And showed up with their Khalistani flags. I mean, we are surrounded by people playing identity politics, but then we're telling ourselves it's bad that if we do it. So I don't know what the ultimate solution is. I just know that if people don't start forming our own groups to protect our interests, we won't have any interests left. At this rate, the federal and provincial governments are at war against us, and it just comes through in their policies.
Yeah, and we're under not just an attack, it's by design. Okay, so it's not just one group from India that's doing it, it's also our government who's making this possible, invited them here. And there's also, I've noticed a lot here, Curtis, that our legal system, letting them out on bail when they're violent criminals, not deporting. Even Polyev says no to deporting. Remember, deporting means you've reached a certain status where you need to go home. For whatever reason, a visa expired, you broke some laws, whatever. You reached a certain status where you need to go home, deport. And then we have Pierre Poilievre say no to deportation. That is not following a rule of law. That's sending a signal out to all groups. But don't worry, you can come here and do almost anything, and we won't even send you back. And then also we're seeing judges releasing violent criminals that have no Canadian status right back on the street on bail, and they become repeat offenders. I think they're trying to upset Canadians who are born here and lived here all their lives, trying to make us upset towards certain groups and make us
I think so.
Dislike them.
How could you see it any other way? I mean, I made a post the other day saying that people are acting surprised about the rise of white identity politics, but it's like, have you been paying attention? Is it not an obvious reaction? To me, like what you just said there hit the nail on the head, in that if you understand the tactics of the Anglo-American establishment, Zionist elite, the machine that pretty much runs the deep states of the world, they war game everything. So how could they have not thought, if we just pump Western countries full of immigrants from third world countries, that they wouldn't say, hey, you know what, enough is enough? Of course they do. This is all leading up to a world government, in my opinion. Go back to the Club of Rome, 1967, when they said, we want to divide the world into 10 regions. And then climate change came out of that. We need an event that's going to bring everybody together. They invented climate change. Maurice Strong and Rockefeller literally invented it. And so they've used all of these huge mechanisms to move people towards demanding bigger government and more centralization. And that's literally what's happening now. All of the eruptions that are coming out of the reaction against mass migration are naturally what's going to happen. People are going to start to collectivize because they don't want to. They grew up in an area where people were like them, and now they're surrounded by East Indians, and they're going, I don't want to be here. But you can only move so many places for so long until it's everywhere. And so, of course, they know that this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a comment here from Trevor. There's no longer social cohesion. When you departmentalize cultures, which is very, very common. Like I've seen it in England for many, many years. You could walk down a street in any city, and all of a sudden you're in a completely different country. But that's not just a case of, oh, isn't that great? We can go to, East Indian restaurant. No, it's a case of literally everyone in there does not speak English. They've been there for a couple of generations, and they have created their own city or country within a city where they don't have to socialize with the country that they're actually in. They don't have to learn the language. And I think it's very disappointing. I know someone and it's not just East Indian, even from some European countries. I know someone whose father from Italy had been here for, God, since the 70s, still didn't speak a word of English. Still didn't speak a word of English.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has been going on for a very long time. But I mean, look at some good examples. Look at Japan. Japan has almost no cultural diversity.
Mhm.
Yet, still to this day, despite the long period of the lost generation they've had there, still has almost no crime. Sweden, Norway, the Finnish, Finland, the Slavic, not the Slavic, the what do you call them? The Nordic countries, if you will. They were always culturally homogenous. It wasn't, and no crime. They were utopias as far as leftist socialists was concerned. But then when you push them on saying, well, it's because they're white, then they would get offended. But look at what diversity has done to those countries. Sweden is now the rape capital of Europe. I was in Sweden in 2018 before it got really bad, and I took a train from Stockholm to Oslo, Norway, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. Every single town that train stopped in, there was no Swedes. It was all North African migrants, and mostly just men hanging around playing hacky sack, not doing anything, idle hands. So they've created this situation, and the ones that are really doing it know what it's going to do. They know the blowback that this is going to create, and that's part of it. They want civil unrest so that they can come in and offer the solution, and everybody's going to beg for it, unfortunately.
And it's systemic, okay? This is real, actual systemic racism that we're talking about here. And film producer, TV producer, Justin Simon, he actually made a comment that the reason why you find the white person in TVs and movies nowadays as the doofus and the goofy guy and the loser, and everybody else are the heroes.
Absolutely.
He made it very clear. The reason is there's no advocacy group for white people. All the other groups have an advocacy group that push hard, and they're allowed to. If you make an advocacy group for white people, suddenly that's supremacy. You get some visions of the KKK and all that kind of stuff. And they're saying specifically, the reason why movies and TV are headed in this direction is because there is no advocacy group for white people.
Exactly. And this is the issue. I mean, if you listen to somebody like Jared Taylor, he's been talking about this for 30 years. I think our biggest problem in Canada specifically, because we're all Canadians here, is white people in Canada are so liberal they don't even realize it. And I even see it in conservative circles, which I mostly roll in, libertarian, conservative, anarchist circles, free market people. They're so liberal they don't even know it. And so this is where I've kind of come up with this term heritage Canadian, whereas I wonder if we have to, in order to find some sort of broader term of unification, instead of saying white, we have to say heritage Canadian. Because like I think about the 90s, because I was a teenager in the 90s, and I think about how back then I had friends of all stripes, but everybody agreed on this sort of Canadian way of being. There was no identity politics whatsoever in the 90s that I witnessed anywhere. But everybody agreed on a certain way of being. And yes, it was 90% white. And that's okay. But there was cohesion, there was trust. It is proven scientifically that diversity leads to a lack of trust. There was a paper that came out in the early 2000s called The Downside of Diversity. It was published through the Boston Globe. And it was actually a big eye-opener for me, because I used to think, I was a liberal. I used to think, yeah, I love other people. I lived in Montreal in my 20s. I'm hip, I'm cool. I love all kinds of people. But then I read this paper and actually kind of like red pilled me, because I observed these patterns every time I traveled on my book tours and whatnot around the world. And I would see the diverse neighborhoods were always the neighborhoods where there was high crime, poverty, you name it. Diversity breeds a lack of trust, whereas a singular culture breeds trust, i.e. in the point of Japan, in the case of Japan, or the way Sweden and Norway and Finland used to be.
And it's not necessarily just Canada, and I'm going to come back to Canada in a second, because I think I've isolated where our major problems are. But even Tucker Carlson has mentioned many times, and I watched this on his show, that it's going to force groups of white people to come together in order to fight back. You're calling it heritage. There's some nationalism as well, nationalist groups coming together. You're seeing this in Ireland. You're seeing this in Canada. You're seeing this all over the place. There are groups coming together to fight for the heritage or national identity of the country. And Tucker has mentioned this is a replacement theory. This is a thing he talks about a lot. This is actually done on purpose to go ahead and replace everybody. So when you're seeing the streets change and the diversity take over, do you remember we used to have like Little Italy's and Chinatown and Greektown and all that kind of stuff? Just these groups, but they weren't pushing their identity outside of that. They weren't trying to erase anybody. And I got to be honest with you, over the last 5 years or so, this is where I've seen the most racism towards me, a white guy. So when I go to like a restaurant or something like that, or go to a fast food place, I am definitely seeing the other side of racism, because they don't have tolerance for me. They talk down to me. And I can see, I went to this one place, New York Fries in Lethbridge. The person in front of me, would you like ketchup with that? How about some vinegar? Would you like salt and pepper with that? All of these condiments were being offered. Then it was my turn. What do you want? Fries. Okay. Nothing else. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You certainly treated me way different than the person right before me. I guess you guys identify as a certain group. Well, and I was not welcomed at that restaurant.
Yeah, that's what it is. And how I don't know how people can be surprised by where we're at with this, but if we don't start to come together, we're going to be in trouble. And I think the way the things that I'm looking at are, what can we do on a municipal level? Like, let's talk about solutions for a minute, because we could rattle on about how bad this is for a very long time. I have an idea on how municipalities and rural municipalities, small towns, even regional districts and counties could start to balance the scales by incentivizing programs for people that don't cost money. So what the federal government is doing is they print money, right? So they have the authority to print money, so they can execute any type of budgetary expense at the stroke of a pen or the stroke of a keyboard. We can't do that on a municipal level, but maybe what we can do is we can create a regulatory environment where it's easier for us heritage Canadians to exist. And so one thing that I'm planning to do in my and I don't want to tell people where I am or exactly, but I will talk about these broadly right now, because we are is what I want to do is create a program called Heritage, and I want to open source my ideas. People can rip off my ideas. I think we need to do this across the country in municipalities, in small municipalities, rural towns, is create a program called the Heritage Canadian Policy Exemption Program, which means you apply. And if you're an approved Heritage Canadian, it means that you're born here, you have lineage here, you may have immigrated here, and we're kind of working on what that benchmark is. Maybe you immigrated here before 1990 or something like that. Is that you have to share Canadian values. You got to speak perfect English, or French if you're in a French-speaking area. And if you are approved, you can basically do anything you want on your property without a permit or a license. So the idea being is that you can build a tiny house village. You can form an intentional community. You can start a business in your garage without a business permit. The idea is, let's create a hub of economic activity where people say, this is a happening place to be, and it's where I want to go because I can actually get ahead. Right now, teenagers, people in their 20s, cannot even think of getting ahead. It's the first time in 100 years where the generation after us is looking at being worse off than the generation before. That never happened. It was always a situation of things getting better. Right now, I talk to people in their 20s, they're hopeless, because especially people in their 20s in big cities, and this is why there's a massive rise in white nationalism, is because these young men who are normally very productive people have been told that they're pieces of garbage from the beginning. And they're surrounded by people that hate them. And society encourages them to hate them. So how do you think they're going to go? So instead of fighting that tsunami, let's create hubs, super hubs for Heritage Canadians to get ahead and come together and form intentional communities, because I don't think the federal government is going to change for a long time. We're on basically, we're on the dumpster path, and we're going to be liquidated, and maybe we join the United States, or I don't know how it's going to go. But in the medium term, the next 10 years, if we don't start radically coming together and unifying, we're finished. We're all going to be poor. People are going to lose their homes, they're going to lose their jobs, and they're being replaced by migrants that are happy to do that job for half the price, because the government subsidizes half their wage.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Ottawa, because I think we're under even a more direct attack now. So in 2019 to 2022, Mark Miller was a Minister of Indigenous Services. And then from 21 to 23, he was the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relationships. And guess what? In 23 to 25, he was the Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. So basically the guy who opened the borders. And what is he now? He's now, as of recently, a couple of days ago, the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture and the Minister responsible for official languages.
Insane.
Wrong direction. We're heading in the wrong direction when we have the guy who basically opened up the borders now responsible for Canadian identity and language. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, my first question is, why is that even a government agency to begin with? I mean, I'm a libertarian in my foundation, or an anarchist, if you will, but I recognize that those things aren't going to get us what we want now. We actually need government on a serious level to take control. It's not going to happen on a federal level, but I mean, yeah, that in and of itself, and what you just explained there, shows a pretty strong correlation. I don't know if it's direct evidence, but it shows a pretty strong correlation that there was a reason that guy's career went in that path, because he got a hold of each of these agencies to pull some major strings. And it, again, going back to what we were saying earlier, it looks like complete sabotage. It looks like the Canadian identity is under attack and being sabotaged, and the Canadian way of life is being sabotaged. And if you know, true Canadians, people that are born and raised here, but even people like Paula, who have come here from countries that had Western values, if we don't start coming together in a radical way, we're all going to be poor very soon. And I don't know what life is going to look like for the next generation that wants to have a normal life. Like, here I am, I live off-grid on a mountaintop. I'm literally ready for the apocalypse. The lights could go out, there could be a nuclear war tomorrow. I'll probably do better than most. At the same time, I would like my children to have a sort of normal life where they can have friends in town and they can hang out with other people. I don't want to just be a complete isolationist. I'm prepared for that because I see where this could go. But I still want to, like, go into town. I want to go and see a band play. I want to do normal stuff. But the way it's going, those normal things will not exist, because the cultures that are coming here don't share our cultures. Like, I think about a town in the Kootenays that was the coolest town. I went to music school in a town called Nelson, BC. It was always one of the most unique and cool, hip towns in Canada. It is now predominantly East Indian. You go there and it's shocking. And all the cool restaurants, all the cool culture that you enjoyed, it's only a matter of time until that's completely gone. And so the real thing we need to expose is that this lie of diversity, it's actually not diversity, it's monoculture. It's replacing us with a monoculture, because there's 1.4 billion people in India, There's
Mhm.
And I've
40
upset them all
million.
once before.
Yeah, there's 40 million people in Canada. You could take 40 million people out of India today and put them in Canada, doubling the population and completely changing the cultural demographics, but it wouldn't even be noticeable in India that 40 million
That's
people
right.
were gone. So that's what white people have to start thinking about, is like, we're only 7% of the world population. We're actually a minority, a significant minority. And what benefit do we get if we understand central banking policies and inflation and things like that? Outside of that scam, which needs to be changed, what benefit do we actually get by having immigration? What, we don't have talent here? What white Anglo-Saxons aren't talented? They're not intelligent people who can design and build things? Like, come on. It's the arguments that they make for immigration are absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
Right,
with
and I just want to kind of remind people a little bit more about Mark Miller. He's the one who swore on a Quran and a Bible. He's the one that calls himself Christian, but says the Bible's full of hate speech, and he's going to be part of Bill 63's comeback in order to make. Actually, he's part of the committee that removed protection for religious beliefs from the new hate laws under Bill C9, I believe it is. So this guy's got his fingers everywhere. So if we can actually pinpoint where we're going to screw up bad, it's going to be having Mark Miller in charge of identity, because the reason why they have that department is to control it and define it and make it, whatever they say it is. And also just to kind of correct one thing, Paula's not from a Western country. She's from Nigeria, so
Yeah.
a developing country.
Oh yeah, you're in England. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, but
She's Lebanese blood.
Yeah.
So it means
Yes.
she's Arabic.
Right.
Arab. Yeah, Arab. And born in Nigeria, which is developing, but schooled in England because she needed to be.
Yeah, good
Right,
old
right,
colonialism.
right.
There was certainly an influence of the British within Nigeria, but yeah, so I'm quite the eclectic background.
You are.
which is
That's
really
a
Party.
very
Where's Paula from? People can never guess.
Yeah.
right.
And then I'm 1667. My roots go back to 1667, 200 years before Canada was Canada. So you put us together, our kids are good, right? Under your new
absolutely.
philosophy,
Oh
our kids
yeah,
are
you
good.
guys are in the club. Can we? How much time do we have left?
As much as you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to touch on what's going on with this truth and reconciliation thing.
Sure.
Yes.
We
We
just
were
watched
talking-
that video yesterday that you shared,
Yes.
Making a Killing. We watched that
That's
last night.
right.
Yeah.
The fantastic documentary, and what a boondoggle, unbelievable. But talk about the demoralization of Western values. That nothing is so encoded in this whole truth and reconciliation movement. I mean, yes, what happened with the First Nations people wasn't perfect, but show me a place that it was. I mean, history is a constant power struggle between groups. I mean, it's everywhere. And the thing that nobody wants to talk about is the fact that the tribes themselves were vicious and brutal. The
100%.
native bands themselves were raping and pillaging all across Canada, scalping one another. I mean,
And putting into slavery the people they caught.
Yeah.
They literally did. And the Haida Gwaii were some of the worst. They went all the way from Alaska to Southern California, raping and pillaging and enslaving people. So where's the truth and reconciliation for that? But the irony with all of this movement is they're saying, okay, the Canadian government, through the Catholic Church, we're basically taking these poor Indian kids, and they want to erase their history and just controlling them. And of course, liquor is a big part of this that nobody wants to talk about. But we're erasing their history. Well, it's ironic because that's actually what's being done to us right now. There might be a time in 30 years where we have our own Truth and Reconciliation Committee, because if you look at the woke stuff that's being taught in schools today, it's literally like a residential school. You're horrible for being white. You're privileged. Your history is garbage. Let's tear down statues of John A. Macdonald and so on and so forth. They're doing this to us now. And it makes you wonder, on a macro scale, is there a pattern to this? Is this sort of a thing that happens historically where you have to kind of erase the past of people so that they don't get ahead? So you kind of keep people in this demoralized state. I mean, and just look at what this Truth and Reconciliation thing has done. I mean, how demoralized people are. So many people just feel guilty for existing, but it was all based on a lie. And if you watch this documentary, Making a Killing, they did a really good job of exposing the facts and the details and showing in these committees where they were literally presenting evidence that wasn't evidence. Oh, we found a thing that looked like a thing, a piece of a rib cage or a tooth.
Mm.
And then, oh, we've got this underground radar, yet they won't spend 4 hours with an excavator and go dig it up. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
One thing that the movie brought up is in Manitoba they did, and they just found rocks.
Exactly.
They literally just found rocks in Manitoba.
Exactly.
They dug, and then that's what the headline.
I know. And they showed that scene underneath where it's like, oh, look, you can see some of the rocks. It's like, what are we looking at here?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But the ground penetrating radar was used there too, and it looked like something might be there. So they did go ahead and open up, and it was rocks. Lo and behold, it wasn't actual dead children, even though there was rumors and stories. And this is in Manitoba. This is rumors and stories. They did dig. Why isn't that brought forward in the Truth Reconciliation narrative? Because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah. Well, and it's a pattern that I've noticed in when you want to know if globalists or the quote unquote New World Order are behind something, everything that's presented is an inversion. Mm-hmm. So when they say diversity is strength, the opposite is actually true, and it's observable with your own eyes. This is the same thing during COVID. We were observing opposites to what we were being told. They call it Truth and Reconciliation, but it's based on a lie. It's an inversion. And so this is, and they did address it in the end of the movie. I wish they would have spent a bit more time on it, but they did talk about UNDRIP and DRIPA and this UN plan to give the land back to the indigenous. There's big pieces being moved here. This isn't really about truth and reconciliation. These people are just being used as a pawn to move big global pieces and install approved people. And I think the way this is going is actually going to affect all of Canada. And I'm hoping that this is sort of an awakening moment for Canadians to say, okay, enough. And it's unfortunate that the fall guy is First Nations, Indigenous people. I have nothing against those people as individuals. But as this documentary shows, the corruption in their bands is unbelievable. And everybody's known this forever. Like if you've grown up in rural Canada, everybody has known forever that bands and chiefs are totally corrupt, because all you have to do is drive through an Indian reservation and see the garbage everywhere, dumpy houses, and then see the chief who's got like a Ferrari and endless amounts of money to fly around the world and live the high life when his people can't even get ahead. And some of the testimonies of people in the movie, First Nations people who admit this, I mean, it's not surprising, but it's nice to hear some actual testimony. But this has to be exposed because it shows that the way the system operates is to get patsies to be corrupt so that they can be manipulated. It's just like the Epstein Island thing. It's just like all the racket of, finding a guy who's corruptible and then leveraging him. That's all this is. They're using these band chiefs to be patsies for the New World Order or globalist machine so that they can steal your land.
Yeah, we got to get into the UNDRIP one some more, because I actually spoke to JD Lemmings, who is a native in BC, who's going all over the place talking to chiefs to explain to them how this is a scam. You're being used, you're being leveraged. It's through the UN, backed by China, and the entire plan is to take the land away from Canada, put it into Indigenous people's hands, back them financially by China, and when they default on that, China then becomes a landowner. That's according to JD Lemmings. This was an NCI testimony in Edmonton. It's available online to review. So I'll probably get him on. We talked about him coming on, but he had some family issues, so we'll bring him on. But they're not stupid to this at all. It's the chiefs, you're like you said. And when I was running for office out here in Parkland, I sat down with a former chief of the Enoch tribe. And he's a former chief because when he got elected in, what he did was he balanced the books and stopped the corruption. So they got him out in the next election. That's literally what he explained to me. He balanced the books, stopped the corruption, and they didn't like that because anytime they have a deficit, the Liberal government just pays it. So they run deficits on purpose because it just gets paid for. But when he reversed course and tried to actually show prosperity, they voted him out. So there's some trouble there too.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? What's happening on the bans is sort of a microcosm that what happens in municipalities from what I've seen. A lot more extreme on the ban side because there's way less accountability. But cities, they have to spend all the money in the budget, otherwise they don't get it again. Mm-hmm. So the way the local governments are established under the Community Charter and the Municipalities Act basically makes it so you have an economic incentive to be frivolous with your money, thereby keeping you dependent on the province and thus the federal government. That's a macrocosm of the microcosm of what has happened to First Nations people. It's the same it's the same scam. Gets you on the teat of socialism so that you don't have self-determination. This is all about, and it's ironic, Article 3 of UNDRIP says Indigenous people have the right of self-determination. It's the same article in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which says all people have self-determination. And it's kind of ironic because they say that, but the opposite is what's true. First Nations bans are anything but self-determined. It's complete. And again, another inversion. What they say, the truth is actually the opposite. We are in Orwellian dialectic. We have been in an Orwellian dialectic for probably 50 years, where the truth is literally the opposite of what is being said. And they're making people so used to that when you look at the cliche today is the woke mind virus. You look at a lot of the things that these liberals say, if you survived COVID and didn't take the shots and kind of woke up then, which a lot of people did. I've been on this path for 26 years, but a lot of people did. They're flabbergasted every day that they're hearing words coming out of a person's mouth that are the opposite of things that they can see with their own eyes. And it's troubling. It's really troubling because these people are our neighbors. They're our work colleagues. They're everywhere, but they're literally perceiving the world the opposite of the way we can see it. So I don't know what to say sometimes.
And the Indian Act is by far the most racist law that we still have. It needs to be revoked. We need to treat everybody the same. And when I see things like the MOU come out of Alberta, where it says literally, we're going to make Indigenous groups owners of the pipeline. They're going to prosper from it. They've already two-tiered it. They're going to receive a lot more prosperity from Alberta oil than Albertans. But in either case, I think we got to let you run because we got to get into the rest of our show.
Yeah, I got to take care of my kids.
Yeah,
can we get you to come back again sometime soon?
Absolutely, my pleasure. This is great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll get you on more of an evening one because then we can get a couple hours out of you because I can hear some hungry kids in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, folks, great to talk to you.
Comment to Canada and Alberta?
We'll say that again?
Any last comment to Alberta?
I would say we need to radically come together as Heritage Canadians, and we need to look past our individual, even small cultural differences and say, hey, are you a Canadian that remembers the way things were? You're on my side. I'm a white Anglo-Saxon. I've got more in common with an Italian or a Portuguese or even a Pakistani migrant that came here in the 90s. I have more in common with those people than I do the people that are being pumped into this country. And if we don't start to radically come together, we're going to be in trouble. So people can follow me on X at Offgrid Stone. And I'm still on YouTube, miraculously. Just look up Offgrid with Curtis Stone.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we're off grid as well. And we love it. And but our generator is probably going to kick in anytime soon now.
Yeah,
but have yourself a wonderful day, Curtis. Say hi to that family and go make that toast for the kids.
Okay, guys. Take care. Thanks again.
Take care, brother. Bye. Well, that was certainly fun. Lots to talk about there. It is an issue that a lot of people, it's delicate issue to talk about. And diversity is our strength is a mantra, much like safe and effective. But it should be diversity is their strength because it's not for us. It's for someone else. And that was something that made you giggle. We pulled up to a store somewhere and there was what looked like to be this guy high on drugs and just having difficulty standing. And I asked you, are you okay if I just drop you off here? You're like, yeah, we're fine. I said, well, don't forget, diversity is our strength.
Yeah.
Best
line ever.
That's
the new I love you. That's where we're parting.
Yeah.
Look, I'm an immigrant. I came here in 2004. I got my citizenship in 2008.
And then married months after that.
Yes. Yeah, March 2008, I became Canadian, and then August 2008, I married you.
Yep. Remember the line? I'm driving on the QEW with her. She just finished doing her ceremony.
Yeah.
And I asked her, what are you more proud of, your passport or the wedding? And she goes, wedding.
The wedding.
Wedding.
Well, listen, okay. And this is where I appreciate Canada, because as a Nigerian, if I wanted to travel anywhere outside of Africa, you need a visa. To get a visa, you need to pre-book, prepay for everything, your flight, your accommodation, get your
show your bank accounts, yeah,
in order to apply, so that when you're going to whichever country, they know you're not setting up shop to stay there. You've got some money to cover your bills and everything's taken care of.
Return ticket.
And a return ticket to get out of there. I've been doing that all my life. Traveling to England, I needed a student visa because again, I'm not English. So I appreciate the value of that passport where I could practically hop on a plane on a whim and go to a lot of countries with no.
You can go to more countries than I can because you had the Nigerian passport for a little bit.
Exactly. And then coming to Canada, yes, I grew up in England, so it wasn't that.
And obviously, you assimilated. You can hear it.
It wasn't that different with regards to a way of life, but nevertheless, I appreciate living in Canada, being Canadian, being with other Canadians, and understanding the things that you can do and shouldn't do. And so when Curtis made the comment, the Pakistani gentleman that's been here for 20 years and is a Canadian, they're probably in the same mindset.
They're upset. They're upset.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the new immigrants that this government and the previous government has allowed to come in and just, I don't call it whitewash, but just have their way with the nation. A lot of other immigrants who've been long-standing, more than my 20 years and further, are probably gobsmacked, like, what on earth is going on? This is not the Canada that I came to, and it's not the one that I've kind of been living in, let alone for you heritage Canadians.
You mean that's white privilege?
I have no issue
right?
with that word, by the way. Heritage, nationalist, if you want to put it in a stretch, because this is your country, your parents' country, your grandparents, and so on and so on. So I have no issue with concern about where is the Canadian heritage, where's it come from, and where is it going?
Yeah, try being a tall, white, heterosexual male in this world right now in our own country. But look, I don't feel victimized at all. I absolutely feel strength. I feel like we're going to be strong, teach our boys the same thing, and we're going to ensure that they have the opportunity to prosper because they're going to have their own difficulties with this world. And I think a sovereign Alberta is part of that plan. Absolutely part of that plan. All right, so let's get into our quick little update, kind of do reverse for you all. You got some light.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This is one thing she's been wanting for a little while, is more light.
We have.
You certainly woke up and enjoyed it a lot. So Martin, this is a Martin update. So the update for the homestead
was Jason's redone the lighting in our living, kitchen, dining area.
Our trailer. So our trailer is 12 volt. We had some 5-volt lighting above our bed, desk area,
which we had put in, so that we can improve the lighting that was there from before. Yeah,
because we didn't have much to begin with. And then I put a bunch into the dining, kitchen, the little hallway by the fridge towards connects those two things.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't enough for you.
Yeah, no, especially in winter time, there's not a lot of light. I would get headaches. I can't read very clearly unless I have a flashlight on my book. And so I was winter time is dark enough as it is, and it was just darker in the trailer. And then we got lights, and they've been sitting in the shed and
This happens.
for a while.
We plan the project, we buy
Yeah.
it, and then I fit into my schedule when I can.
Life happens. And
Well, you ran away yesterday, and I was babysitting Jacob, so I'm sitting here going, okay, well, I don't want to be not productive. Let's work on the lights. Let's get this done.
Yeah, so I came home around 4 and walked
Wires
in, and I
hanging
kind of
around.
like he sprung me, like he was like, ooh. And then helped him out for a little bit, and then I
Well, they
left.
update them where your phone ended up.
You update. This is your responsibility.
I had to
my
remove
friend.
part of the ceiling to swap it from 12 or 5 volt to 12 volts. I had a little converter there from 12 to 5 volts. I needed to change it so that the wires had 12 volts on them. I used her phone to light up the area, and then I closed the roof and left her phone in the roof.
Yeah, because then I needed to go out to go deal with Mr. Pig, and I was like, okay,
Where's your light?
where's my phone? So I call it with your and stuff.
You can hear it.
Ceiling stuff.
Oh,
jingling.
good thing a
and
screw didn't go
vibrating.
through it. That was lucky.
Yeah.
Anyways, just be careful when you're closing up your roof that you don't leave your flashlight. And if you're a surgeon, don't leave anything in the body either.
Don't leave the
It happens
scalpel
to
in
the
the
best
body.
of us.
Yeah. So then I left, dealt with the pig, came back about 20 minutes, half an hour later, and I was like, wow. I think literally I was
Yeah, she was very pleased.
Just the place was so well lit, and he hadn't even finished yet.
No, I didn't put the big ones up yet. No,
Yeah.
just above where we sleep in our desk, which is a slide out. We have a slide out
Yeah,
where
and it was like, wow. So it was like, well,
yeah,
that's
she was
my
pleased. Yeah, and then we put all the lights in, and then JJ came in. He was blown away.
Yeah, I didn't tell him. So when I met him outside, I didn't tell him. I said, just go inside, go inside, get yourself ready, because he came back from youth club yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, we got light. Let there be light.
And
There's
then
lots
in
of it
the
now.
boys' room
We'll see.
at some point.
Yeah, because I wanted to get rid of all of the 12 volt incandescent lighting, and some of the LED lighting that was in there is broken. It doesn't work anymore. So yeah, I'll replace those because I want to lower our energy usage.
Exactly.
Every little bit helps.
Everything. Yep.
And and then also now you know where to clean that floor, and you can see it a little bit dirty and stuff like that.
Yeah, now I got to step up the cleaning. But no, it's just well lit. So I definitely appreciated that, and chuffed.
Yeah, so we're going to finish up here with a little bit of the news, and then we'll jump over to locals. And if you're listening to this and you're in the Breton area, we're going to go Salt and Pepper for some breakfast 4-9. So this does happen. People do meet us there for a coffee. So I'll just put it out there. All right. So Sean Buckley working on the NHPPA, which is the National Health. I always get it wrong. I actually have it on a different screen. But he's doing some podcasts and some streaming now. So go and check this out. 1,800 people watch this one. It's 5.5 hours. He's got lots of guests, special extended broadcasts. Do check it out. And I do have lots of confirmation to share with you all. Sean Buckley, Teresa Buckley, John Carpay, Leighton Gray. We even have Nadine Wellwood moderating the Q&A. Mia Hughes. I said Leighton Gray already, right? I know I'm missing one or two. Oh, Bruce Party. Yeah. Are all confirmed. They're going to be here January 10th, Red Deer. We're now just finalizing the poster. We're going to get the tickets up shortly. So, and it does appear to be very popular. People do want to see it. We have a total of 8 speakers plus the Q&A portion. And then we're going to have Pastor Sean Ham, do a prayer to start it. And Teresa Buckley herself is going to close the event with some inspiring messages. So get yourself ready for that. Stay tuned. We should have a poster and those site ups shortly.
And we should have some vendors on site as well, where you can also get some books and T-shirts from us for the Levine show, but also there'll be other vendors there.
And a lot of these people are authors.
Yeah.
And then Regina Wattiel is double checking to see if she can come. She's not confirmed, but everybody else is confirmed, and we're good to go. Critical Compass, I ran into them at the AGM. Great group of guys, a couple guys there going there to capture some of the what's going on there. So do check out their little 14-minute production here. Little me do make a little appearance in there, but they were going there to talk about independence for Alberta and what people are talking about at the AGM. It's a really good little video, so check it out. And I'm pleased because it was an absolute pleasure to meet the guys at the AGM and have a watch. Conservatives are upping their game with high quality productions. So I really like this part that we're seeing happen. A lot more work's being put into this as well,
Mhm.
and we'll get into a moment to Making a Killing. But we are also working on the Dan Hartman movie. It's a movie, documentary, and we're doing the same thing. We're spending a lot of time on the production of this, the guests on it, getting things together. Dan's excited to get this out there, so stay tuned for the Levine Show, as we'll be releasing that in the weeks to come. But there's a lot of work behind this. A lot of work behind this.
There is.
But I think this is a good step for conservatives to take, is to actually step up your game, do a good job. It's not all about yelling and screaming and swearing. It's about bringing information together in a digestible format so people can go ahead and share it and watch it. Speaking of, so Curtis shared this and we watched it last night, Making a Killing, the full documentary film. This is about residential schools and Truth and Reconciliation and the evidence or lack thereof behind it. And do check it out. This is coming from One BC, which is the new party in BC that is very conservative and getting quite popular, frankly. Dallas is doing a great job leading that, and she is one of the ones that spoke up quickly about residential schools. And she basically got kicked out of the caucus and started her own party. And we are working on having her on the show sometime soon. But do check it out. You'll recognize a lot of people. Jim McMurty. He's been on our show a couple times. He makes an appearance in there too. He's a teacher that was fired for saying the students that died of natural causes and disease, not from murder and abuse. So check that out. It was a very good movie.
And I put it all in the chat on all our platforms, so you should find it.
Yeah, you should find it everywhere. It's on YouTube, X. I believe it's, I don't know if it's on Rumble or not, but it's definitely on YouTube and X, but do check it out. The current Alberta Independence Reason, number 1797, the Fraser Institute's Economic Freedom of North America report shows something Albertans already know. We're being held back. On this map, the jurisdictions ranked most free are entirely in the United States. Alberta doesn't make that top tier, not because of our values, our economy, or our people, but because Ottawa's policies drag us down. Federal taxes, federal regulations, federal carbon schemes, pipeline blocks, emission caps, equalization, national programs we don't control. All of it reduces Alberta's economic freedom score. But here's the truth the map also reveals. If Alberta controlled its own tax policies, resource development, regulations, and economic decisions, we would easily rank among the most free nations in North America and likely the world. We already outperform all Canadian provinces, even under Ottawa's thumb. Imagine what Alberta could do without it. In a strong and free Alberta, we would join the ranks of the freest, most prosperous jurisdictions on earth, because our future would finally be shaped by Albertans, not by a federal government that holds us back. So here's a picture from the Fraser Institute as they released their scores for the Freedom Index. And yes, Alberta is doing well in Canada, but that's like saying you're the least abused of all the abused children in the family. We could do way better. We could be joining a good chunk of America with freedom, like Florida and Texas and the whole Midwest, because we're being held back by Ottawa's policies. This is why we don't rank as well as we could. And if we were a nation on our own, separate from Ottawa, we would absolutely turn, what is that, fuchsia blue? Like, what color is that?
Teal.
There we go. I have to go to other people because I only have like 5 colors, and she has all the other colors. To me, that's blue. But there you go. So if Alberta was independent, the Fraser Institute would rank us a lot higher for freedom. And if you're in Canada and you like freedom, Alberta is still the place to be, but we definitely can do better. So we'll work on that one. A couple more things here. So we were planning to go to Mirror, Alberta, which is a Whistle Stop Cafe. We were going to go there right after the show. The plans changed because the vehicle that Chris Dacey and Mike Root are in is not running right now. This might change to tomorrow, so do stay tuned to my ex or Chris Dacey as well as an update happens. I know he's going to be in Calgary Saturday for a farmer's meet and greet. So if he can make it Thursday or Friday to Mirror, then they're going to try before they head out east back to Ontario. So we'll keep you posted on that because we'd love to go see Mike and Chris. So Chris Scott as well. So just stay posted. Check it out. A little comment here. David Knight-Legg, who was on the show the other week, is highlighting here how dramatic Mr. EB is. He even talks about himself in the third person. Evie said, if you're looking for Premier EB agitated, and then went into a whole bunch of other trash on a TV interview. I kind of highlighted here that David Eby is the West Coast Stephen Guilbeault, started as a climate activist and turned into an activist politician. Just like Guilbeault, Eby is a black eye on Canada. So yeah, we see a few of these happen all over the Liberal Party.
He's a what on Canada?
Black eye. Black eye. I know that's the way I pronounce things. It comes out tough. Is a black eye. Don't get that confused earlier with Curtis's comments or anything like that. Black eye on Canada. Did you hear it again?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I wasn't reading, so so as soon as I heard it, it pricked my ears.
I got to pause between those two words in the future. Yeah. All right, and Donald Best posted here, Porsche has bricked their cars in Russia. They have the ability with internet-enabled vehicles. They have the ability to go ahead and cause the vehicle to stop working. This is a very scary precedent for sure, because you don't actually own it then. If the manufacturer can tell your vehicle that you purchased from them to stop working, do you really own it? Mm-hmm. So my post here is, you will own nothing and be happy. So even if you purchase a vehicle, the manufacturer can disable it because you happen to live somewhere that holds different political views. Did Porsche even try to fight the EU order? How about verify the owner's views? And a Porsche? I do not think any manufacturer should be getting involved in this kind of activity. I think it's very silly. Most vehicles now have some sort of internet-enabled capability to them. So you can imagine you're just driving down the road and your F-150 stops. Why? Because you're against the Liberal government. And Mark Miller said the new culture of and identity of Canadians don't include you Albertans, and you decide to shut off your vehicles. This may seem very pipe dreamy for a lot of you, but this is happening now. Yeah. So just because somebody bought a Porsche, lives in Russia, Porsche, through pressure from the EU, shut off the vehicle and disabled it. It can't run anymore. So this is the kind of things I think we should be highlighting and be cautious about, because we shouldn't be seeing this happen. This is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I would be pretty upset if my TV stopped working because I have political views, or
you've used too much carbon credits that month, and so therefore
one of the reasons we produce our own electricity is because even electric grids can be turned off, water meters can be turned off, things like that. Smart meters are now in there. Can they stop metering? Can they stop water going through? We're not going to wait around to find out. We got our own will.
Concern people have had with autonomous vehicles, like what happens if it's hacked? Well, here's the thing: this is a vehicle you drive yourself. It can still be done.
Yep. And they're all electronic now. It's not very difficult for them to turn off your vehicle.
I think OnStar's been doing it forever with regards to, hey, do you need you've locked your keys in the car? We can open it for you.
Yeah. That's some of the things that they can do. But EVs in general, they also have a chip in them that will stop them from charging when the electric grid tells them to. So there's an ability for the electric grid to say, hey, we have too much demand, turn off EV charging. This happened in California. A lot of Californians with their Teslas were surprised to learn that. Like, oh boy, you can actually do that.
And if you buy a generator,
and if you have electric only, well, then you're pooched. Yeah, we have an electric with a gas generator, the Volt, and we produce our own power for it. So we keep that thing running, and we don't keep it connected to the internet either. All right, and the most Albertan man in the world hanging out for an interview. Boy, there's a lot of people that have an opinion on him. Yeah. That's a lot of fun. He's very mysterious. If you see him, shake his hand, and then let us know. Grab your own picture and send it to us. All right, let's jump over to our members section with our locals. And I hope you didn't mind that we had to reverse the episode today, because Curtis is a good father. He wants to bring some toast to his children. And you let me know ahead of time. He can make that happen. So make sure you share this, like this, click that little bell so you're notified when we do episodes, because sometimes we do special episodes out of the blue, and you'll be notified about that as well. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we're expecting MLA Jason Stefan to join us. We're going to talk about the recalls, the MOU, the AGM. He's an active MLA, so he's still in the UCP party, and we'll have a conversation with him. And I'm still getting the confirmation with Rob Anderson, the Chief of Staff for Danielle Smith, for Friday. So those are our two next expected guests, and stay tuned. And then in the next couple of weeks, we're supposed to get Danielle Smith at least one more time, and I'm looking at Shane Getson as well. He used to be the whip for the UCP party. He's the MLA just east of us, and we'll talk to him. And there's a couple more. I got a bunch of cards while I was at the AGM, so we'll have conversations with the governing party.
Yep. Otherwise, everyone, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the warmer temperatures. Our neck of the woods is meant to be a high of 1 but a low of -1, so we'll check that out. Everyone, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
And Paula loves the lights. She loves them.
Wow.
Have yourself a wonderful day, everybody. Take care of each other. Love you all, and God bless.